Hi. Hello, hello. Looking for something to hold. Hi, Heather. Got it. I like to hold on to something when I'm doing these live streams. How are you? I have missed being on here. I'll be honest. I was getting really into this rhythm here, and there was like a pull to come and do live streams here. And then my attention just went to doing my podcast. Hi, how you doing? If you're new to joining me live, it's always nice just to say hello to each other, to me. If you're new to me, maybe tell me where you're from. Just common etiquette in the online space. So yeah, I've been working more on my podcast and having the conversations over there, and I've just been loving it. Absolutely loving it. If you haven't tuned in yet, hi. What part of the UK are you from? I don't know if we've met in person before. Hi, thank you. I have been just enjoying the podcast. Got some more interviews lined up, and what I've been really loving about it is just the depth that I find really hard to bring to Instagram, if I'm honest. Apart from doing these Instagram lives, I think that's why I was really enjoying them so much, because there was a way for me to express myself with more time, because I truly need more time to work with people. And I love working one-to-one, and this is why I'm loving these conversations, because it gives me this way of demonstrating, embodying how I am in real life that is just so hard to fit onto these tiny little grids and reels and stories. Oh my gosh, look at you two in the South Coast. Do you know each other? That's weird. I'm just looking at the comments here if you're watching the replay. The women here live are both from the same part of England. So welcome. I don't know what is going to come out of me in this live stream, but I'm practicing trusting the way my body's showing up and pulling me towards things, and trying not to have this like mental rehearsal going on. But these podcasts are really, really exciting me, and just having this bigger, deeper format just super exciting. No, they don't know each other. Not yet. I like that, Cass. Not yet. And, I'm just wondering if that's something you resonate with, like being online. It's like really challenging to bring the depth and the connection and the meaning. Because I really, this is my judgy bitch hat on. Like all the work that I do, like I love it, but what I don't like is trying to condense it down into simple 3-step how to do this practice, how to do that practice, how to, you catch my drift. Because whilst that stuff is valuable, hey Sarah, nice to see you, love. Whilst it's really helpful for, different parts of the journey, I just don't believe that any of that sort of content makes much of a difference. And for me, like, because I value depth, I can't condense myself into like these simple step carousels and information, like tidbits. Like even the other day I was posting about describing what embodiment is, and I could have written like a whole fucking essay about that. And I'm realizing like I need to create more spaces for me to do that. So today, behind the scenes, I was working on like bringing my blog back to my website and putting my longer form writing there. I was focusing on bringing my podcast back to the website. So when you first come to me, like you can go back and deep in, because if you're anything like me, you love to go deep with things. and apply things to your whole life and really sit and chew with things and let them permeate your cells, instead of this like quick fix content, like fast food is what's coming to my mind. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just becoming more aware the more work that I do with my mentor, the real longing for depth that I truly have in every aspect of my life. And as I'm unpacking all of this, like I kind of knew this about myself, but as I start to unpack this more and more and more, it really highlights the work that I do for myself, with the women that I've worked with the women that I will work with, is that the emotional discomfort around going deep to the core of something, in this instance realizing how my longing for depth and like this deep part of me is like wanting to understand everything and get to the bottom of things, to really know how they work, how that part of me, like I don't feel like I can express it all of the time in every aspect of my life, and the pain that my inner maiden really feels around that, because I work archetypically with rites of passage. Sorry, I can't get my words out. I'm very excited to be talking to you. And so as I work with my mentor to unpack these things, like it's really messy. It's really painful, and there's a lot of reparenting work. There's a lot of nervous system work that I'm having to do to integrate this slowly. But what ultimately I feel like it's doing is like shifting this background frequency that really is what gets felt through my transmissions, but be it podcast, writing, content, these live streams, be it into my relationships with my friends, my family, you know, like there's big shifts happening. And, you know, it might be easy to sit here and be like, oh, Adriana, you're an embodiment coach, or, you know, like, you know your shit. But like the reason that I work with a mentor is to go deeper and deeper again and bring these layers out, because like my values are in, like my number one value is integrity. And to me, like when I think of that through an embodied lens and this work that I'm doing with my mentor and the work that I want to do with clients, like it really touches every single fucking layer of your life. And you can look at that like physically through all like the different types of tissues in your body. You can look at that like energetically, like, you know, the chakra system. You can look at that emotionally and the emotional body and all of the plethora and mystery of the unknown of the emotions that come up, like the mind. Don't get me started on that one. The deconditioning we have to do of the thoughts and the beliefs and the things that we choose to plant into the fertile soil of the subconscious, like every single layer. And that's just the individual. That's even with not even looking at our relationships to other people yet. That's all just you and me. So, you know, when I say it's a slow process, when I say it's messy, when I say it takes time, it really fucking does. And, you know, to like circle back for a second to the comment I made about like expressing depth through content and things, like it really sort of echoes there for me too. And like this fear of like people aren't going to get me, they're not going to understand. But really I know there are women just like me waiting for me to talk about this shit. Waiting for me to share my process, waiting for me to go deeper, and like really getting the understanding that I have to go first. And shit, and this is why I'm sharing this with you. This is why I'm sharing it with you. And if you're here and you're watching live and it's resonating, like, let me know in the comments. Like, it's really nice to engage with you that way. Also okay if you can't, like if you're driving, for example. We shouldn't be watching this anyway if you're driving. But yeah, there's just this desire in me to bring my depth forward, to share my process more. And like that includes like the messiness. Because I know I can talk about like the messiness of emotions and the process, but you know, I think it's more tangible when I'm sharing, you know, my own experience of how I'm meeting these things in my life and how I'm bringing them forward and how I'm meeting it, working with it, growing and shifting. So sharing that felt really important. I know this isn't like the first time either that I've worked with a mentor, and there's something about the process that I'm feeling to say, so I'm just going to follow that urge. I remember when I used to play basketball as a kid, like from the age of 9 to 19, like a pretty high level basketball too. But I remember my coach at the time, I think it was Keith Jenkins, talking to me about like the switch and bait. So you got to go in for one thing and then it becomes the other. And this is always applied to me with any mentor I've worked with. I think I'm going in for something, but what I'm really getting is something else. Every single fucking time. Every time. And there's like such a perfection in that. So in this instance, I thought I was going in to learn a little bit more about business because, as you may know, if you've like been watching my journey over the last little while, I've taken time off from work, and I was like, you know, this is the perfect time to work with someone who has business information for me, business know-how, things that I don't know, that I can build on a solid foundation with a human design lens, because that system has really supported me deeply. So these two things combined, and I'm like, great. 2 months in, wondering how this is all going, and I, you know, had my intentions for the work, and then all of a sudden, I met with so much fucking resistance. All my bullshit is coming up, and I, you know, was like, oh, this isn't working. This isn't the right person for me. Like, my mind was just having like the biggest field day. Anyone relate to that? And yet there was this deeper part of me that just knew I had to be working with this mentor. Like, I just knew. Anyway, it just cracked for me the last couple of weeks, really how deeply I'm supposed to be here, and the exact pattern that's coming up for me is something I've worked on in different areas of my life, but I did not know it was applying to me in this setting as well. So it's just been like huge. And I can feel this thing shifting in me big time. You know, but holding myself through that, holding ourselves through these moments when we're working with a mentor it's really hard. And if you don't have someone there who can see you from the outside, can see where you are, can approve of the place that you're in where you feel stuck and frustrated, and they're just waiting for you to get it, not forcing, not pushing, no agenda, just patiently observing, loving, holding. Without that, I don't know if I would have stayed. Without telling her my problems and what was coming up, I don't know what would have happened. But I do know I did try to do it perfectly on my own and apply all the things that I was learning by myself. And then no wonder I was really struggling. And like, this pattern is really connected to the work that I do around the archetypes. Predominantly from like maiden to mother, archetypally, like moving through these rites of passage so that we psycho-spiritually mature and become women instead of having these operating systems of wounded, hurt little girls, or as my mentor says, the good girl. And it's not just the good girl pattern, it's like variants of the wounded maiden, which I talk about in my work all of the time. But I think now I'm at the point where it's applying to my business, because I've been through it in relationships. I've been through it with my body. I've been through it in my relationship with my mother, intimate relationships, friendships. And now it's in the business mode. And it was funny because I really didn't see it at the time, but now I do. And so like this process of working with the framework of the archetypes, like, is something that does move through every area of your life. Because to me, with this value of integrity, like, it cannot possibly be complete until it touches every part of your life. I'm just going to read the comment here. Heather's saying, I can't interact much, but this is very valuable and I resonate a lot. Thank you. Feel free after this live stream or whenever you dip out, Heather, or anyone else here, just to send me a DM and tell me what you saw, tell me what you felt. It's really good to get into the practice of that too. But learning more about my human design, like, when there's recognition, it's really valuable to give, because sometimes I can't see myself clearly. So I'm just rambling and I don't know what's landing with people. And it's always, welcome to DM me anything that you recognize, even if it is later on, because this is the thing too. When I'm going deep, I'm not expecting you to be able to take something straight away and apply it. Sometimes you need to listen to it a couple of times. And I know that's true for me, the way that I study and learn, and going back over things a few times is required for me. So maybe that applies to some of you listening here too. If you're just joining the live stream, please say hello. Please say where you're from. You wouldn't walk into someone's house and not say hello. So please do. And what was I saying before that? I don't know. I'm just going to take a moment. Yes, I was talking about the integrity and the ways in which this maturity work really touches every single area of your life. Now, I've been deeper into this archetypal work for close to 3.5 years. 3.5 years. And, it does take time. I remember when my teacher first told me about that, and I was just like, yeah. I don't know. Oy vey, it really, when it hits you, it hits you. And there's just a certain truth, like, you can take information in and know all these things, but until you experience it. And I refer to this, you may have heard me recently talking about, like, direct experience, like, through the body, all layers of the body. Until you really fucking touch it, it's not going to even begin to start working. Because this is that pattern I've noticed too, working with my mentor, is that my good girl is, like, very intellectual. She's very smart. She can think, and overthink and be like, oh, got that. I've got that. But really the overthinking is a protection mechanism. Some people call it anxiety. That's a variant of that, but I don't really want to talk about that today. It's the overthinking. And I'm definitely guilty of it. But this is part of what has been shifting for me the last, few weeks, but this piece really clicked into place, like, truly clicked in for me. And it's this overthinking is a protection mechanism that comes up for me when I am afraid of being rejected for my depth, for my need to know, my desire to know, to get to the bottom of things, so that I can be in total connection with the person that I'm with, or with myself, but usually with someone else. And, you know, if you spoke to any of my closest friends, my family, my partners, previous partners, shout out, they will know this about me. They will know this about me. Some of them hated it, like truly hated it, and others like really valued that about me. And so I can now see, I can go back and look at this pattern and be like, oh, this overthinking is this complex armor, chain armor, that is wrapped around this wounded maiden in me. And like when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the archetype, who is from young girl age, any age, or to teenage years. And this version of me was around 9 years old, roughly. And in order to belong, to fit in, to be accepted, I would overthink my way to try and understand the other person, to make myself feel safe. You know, as I'm sharing this, like, maybe it's not your pattern, or maybe it is, and it looks a little different. That's okay. But the reason I'm sharing it is to show my process, because that's also another piece of my depth that people often recognize in me and reflect back to me. It's like, when you share your experiences, I get the most wisdom, I get the most value. Something in me starts to activate. And I really trust that. And the more that I learn about my design, the more I can see, you know, looking back on my life as a 6th line, all of the experiences that I've had are just deeply contributing to the woman that I am now. All of the mentors I've had, all of the systems that I've studied, like, it's all just starting to come together. And I think this idea of integrity is really something that I value, because even, this is the funny thing too, I value it so much in everything that I do, but I really overthought and really judged myself a lot for the various systems that I studied, all the changes that I went through, because I felt like a chameleon. Yes, some of that came from trauma. If you don't know why I'm making a light joke of that, please, I'm just being cheeky. But I wrote a post about that yesterday, so you might want to read that over on my page. Yes, it might have come from that, but I think there was this deeper thing operating in me, collecting deep information, knowledge about different systems, from marketing, from art and design, from even like the team sports that I played as a kid, you know, yoga, Reiki, dance, archetypal rites of passage. Like, it's all just like layered in. And it's only now that I'm seeing, much later down the line, you know, especially with my understanding of the feminine, I would never call that a system. It's definitely a lens. But how can you label the mystery, the great unknown, as a system? Just can't. But my, just hunger for that all is starting to click together. And I'm sure there'll be many more stories, maybe not on this Instagram live, but there'll be many more stories coming through, definitely on the podcast. So if you don't know I have a podcast, or you just haven't yet listened to it, I really implore you and invite you to listen. It's on YouTube, links on my website. You can listen to it on Spotify and Apple and wherever you want to, but a lot more of these stories are going to be featured there, which I'm very excited about. Yeah. I'm just feeling into what else wants to come through in this live stream. If you have any questions percolating, feel free to put them in the comments, or anything that is resonating with you, feel free to put in the comments. I'm just going to have more of my hot water for a moment. If you just want to watch me drink that, you're welcome to. So, yeah, this pattern around my wounded maiden in business is just like coming up. I'm really grateful I'm working with this mentor. She's phenomenal. Human design in business. Shout out to Ginger. Big shout out. But just seeing this tender part of me again in this new way. Like, our patterns run deep, and when you work with a mentor or teacher or whatever, I'm just going to use the word mentor. When you work with someone in that capacity, they're able to hold you and like see you in your humanity. And it's not about fixing anything. I think a lot of like self-help, self-development industry, which, I'm part of, really just spouts toxic positivity bullshit that perpetuates the wound or story that you're not whole, or that having reactions, and I'll speak to it from my lens and work with like the feminine and like emotions, because like the deepest thing that I work with is the emotional body. That's become apparent after all the systems that I've studied in my life and where I'm at now. Like, having emotions and reactions needs to be fixed. And like, when I use the term emotional mastery, people can not understand what I'm saying. But to be masterful isn't about like making it stop or controlling it. It's not about that. It's being able to be in this cycle, because the other key piece that I work with and apply to my own life is seasons, elements within the feminine realm. Like, that wisdom, oh my gosh, like I don't know how I would have gotten through the last few years of my life if it wasn't for that. And I can see in my life how this is something that's always been part of me and always comes through me. And so, it's, when I look at what mastery is, it's like the ability to move through the cycle with ease. To, let's give the example of having the reaction, that comes from like that deeper hurt place inside of us, you know, when we just like the lights go off and just something else takes over and we're like saying that thing again, or in that behavior again, or online shop, whatever it is, you know, like it's noticing that, meeting that, holding that, and then moving into repair. And I just think about winter, spring, summer, autumn. Like it just constantly is moving through all of the time. And so circling back to like the self-help industry, working with coaches and mentors, it's not about stopping anything from happening. There's nothing to fix. It's going to keep happening. You're going to keep seeing this 1, 2, or 3 patterns, whatever it is. But, you know, usually it's just one core pattern that is so sneaky that will show up in every single fucking way, looking like it's something different, but it's not. It's about finding that. And this is why I love embodiment so much, is because when we can like bring the intelligence of the whole body online, and then the mind is supporting the body, like it allows this cyclical process to just operate smoothly, to flow. So again, it's not anything that needs to be fixed. It's about how do we find flow? How can we be ourselves in the, you know, multifaceted, you know, dimension that we are, like the multifaceted nature that we are, and just flow through everything without the story, without this need to be fixing. And this programming is not just about the individual. It goes deep. It's through everything you watch, everything you consume through media, news outlets, if you can call them that anymore. You know, it's all so distorted and like feeding us this absolute bullshit that we're flawed as human beings, that we need to be fixed or simply like eradicated, that we should stop procreating. I know I've mentioned this before, but it feels worth saying again. There's nothing to fix. And so you might be like, oh, why, Adriana, would you hire someone? Why would I want to work with you? Why would I want to work with a mentor? And for me, I can only give that answer for me. But I want to have my humanity. I want to be fully online as a human being. I want the depth. I want the meaning. I want every single flavor of emotion and sensation that I could possibly experience. I want every kind of beautiful relationship there is to have with people. And this is circling back to what I was talking about at the beginning, the depth. And I really am struggling to fit myself into this app. I really am. Like caption limits and all these things, like everything out there just wants you to have less attention, less focus, dumbed down. Like, no, I want to speak to the intelligence and the wisdom and the beauty and the nuance and everything there is about being a human. It cannot possibly fit into this fucking app. It just can't. And I will do my best. Live streams, sure, I'm still going to post content and everything on here, so don't worry. But I'm finding avenues so I can express what's in here to those who want to hear it, who want to feel it. And, you know, this is just a taste of what it's like to be in my world. And it's not for everyone. That's okay. It's not. But if I, you know, am to go first, if I am to shift this frequency, in my life, like I do have to go first. So in some ways, this is a declaration, a sharing of my process, being witnessed. Maybe it's a permission slip. Maybe there was something you needed to hear here today. I really don't know. But you are always welcome to let me know. Questions, what you recognize, what you see, what you've received, always welcome in my world. I know that I have some very strong boundaries, which is something that I'm also working with, because if they're too strong, I suspect they're coming from this same pattern that I have. So working on that too, always working on it. And I think the coaches, the teachers, the guides that I truly respect also have conversations like this, because I am sick and tired of dumbing things down, watching people dumb things down, condense things down into little tidbits of information. That's just not how I operate. So if you're looking for that, you're not going to find it here, my love. Hate to tell you, but also love to tell you. I'm feeling like this is wrapping up. I just want to give myself some time to slowly unwind and drop back into my body before going to bed here in Melbourne, Australia, when I'm recording this, when I'm streaming this. But it's been wonderful for those who've joined. Thank you for participating. Thank you for saying hello and, leaving your comments. It's always really wonderful, so you don't feel like you're talking to no one. If you've never done a live stream, sometimes it can feel like you're talking to nobody. That's okay, but it wasn't like that today, so thank you. Wherever you are in the world, have a beautiful day, wonderful evening, a restful sleep, and I'll be sharing this over on YouTube as well. So if you're on YouTube, thank you. Thank you for following me there. Subscribe, share, save, all that cool stuff. I'm really building it over there too, because I just love the format there. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you for saying thank you. It's really nice. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you all soon, or seeing you soon. So I'm starting to teach my embodiment monthly classes starting next week. So if you're around for that, check it on out. Okay. So much love, and have a beautiful day, evening, wherever you are. Bye.